If your spirit guides aren't communicating with you, this is why and what you need to do to fix it. The first thing is, you may not be communicating with your spirit guides using your dominant psychic sense. And if you're not doing that, then you're not going to be receiving their messages back through your dominant psychic sense. And so you have to figure out which one that is first before you can communicate with your spirit guides, or any spirit for that matter. Because if you are, let's say, a visual person and you're dominant through your psychic sense of seeing, you have no business trying to listen to what the spirit guide's message is. You may get a vision from them, and that may be the first thing that happens. So if you're trying to listen for them and you're not paying attention to the vision, you're going to miss it, okay? And so that's the number one thing that I see that holds people back is preventing them from communicating with the spirit world is they're not working with their dominant sense, okay? When you're coming into this, and as you develop, as you begin to work with your psychic senses, you're going to activate all of your other ones. So if you're dominant visual, the sound, or I'm sorry, if you're dominant visual through your psychic sense of seeing, the vision is going to bring a sound, and that sound is going to bring a feeling. That feeling is going to bring an emotion. That emotion is going to bring a smell. You see how just leading with that dominant sense is going to activate everything else naturally. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to focus. You don't have to do all of these different exercises. One for my clairvoyance, one for my clairsentience, one for my clair this, clair that. No, you just have to work with what's coming through the most dominant. And for most people, it's the knowing, right? It's the gut feeling. All right, how many of you out there get this gut feeling and you just know what you know without knowing how you know it? Whether it's your intuition or whether it's this communication of a spirit, right? When I first started connecting with my spirit guides, I won't say when I first. When I first was trying to learn how to connect with my spirit guides, one of the ways that it would happen for me is through a download, right? I would just get this stuff and I would just know that it just would come to me. And I would just know that this wasn't my thought. This wasn't anything else. This was something that I received. How many of you out there are getting those now and not paying attention to that? How many of you are in the car driving and boom, you get this great idea, but you don't do anything with it? That could be exactly what you've been asking your spirit guides for. And it filtered its way through your ego into your conscious mind through your senses. Okay? So welcome to the live, everybody. Thank you for joining me here today. I'm so excited to get back on a live and start working with you guys again. So if you have any questions, if there's anything that you want to talk about, just feel free to ask your questions in the comments. I'll be going through, I'll be looking at the questions and comments here. So welcome everybody in. We got quite a few people in here today. So if you start to get emotional when you sense your loved one's presence and it's taking you out of the experience, that's okay. That's completely normal. What you want to do is just kind of allow yourself to go through the emotion. Allow yourself to experience whatever's coming up for you. Allow your body to express all of those emotions. Don't hold it back. Don't worry about getting so upset you're going to lose the connection and not be able to connect with them. That's not true. They're going to be right there with you through your own emotional experience. Even if it feels like you've lost the sense of their presence, they are there with you. The active thinking of your loved one brings their energy closer to you, and we are not thinking of our loved one any more deeper or more intense than when we're experiencing that emotion, when we're experiencing the grief, when we're experiencing the crying, right? There's no other time that we're thinking of them more intense. And so they are right there with you. And if you allow your body to express the grief and to get it out and to get over that hump of grief to where you start to settle down a little bit, right? We don't ever heal from that grief. We don't ever get to this place where we're fully okay with somebody's passing, but we can get to a much better feeling place. And if we can allow ourselves to get over that initial hump of grief, once we start to settle back down, we'll feel their presence again. We'll realize they'll be right there. We'll be reassured by them. They'll be talking to us about our experience. They'll be talking to us about how they feel, about how we feel, and the sadness. And it just makes things so much more bearable. That's the best word that I can give. So go ahead. I'm just going to go through some of these questions here. Glenn, Glenn, I'm doing well. Thanks for joining, buddy. Jaybird, welcome. Victoria, welcome. Kevin, welcome. Thank you. Does your connection to your loved ones strengthen over time once they've passed? Not necessarily does it strengthen, because we are never separated from our loved one. We are omnipresent beings. Our energy exists everywhere, just like our loved one's energy. So there is a part of us that is with them at all times, just like there's a part of them that is with us in our energy somewhere in the cosmos, in this great big old bowl of energy soup we all exist in. Our energies are always somewhere together. And so it's not that we develop this stronger connection, we just get more used to recognizing when it's happening. Okay? And so And I want you guys to think in terms of that as well. It's not that we have to build a connection. It's not that we have to effort this thing. It's just that we have to realize and get our expectations in check with what's really going on. Because I feel that that's something else that the spiritual community, especially when it comes to spirit communication of any kind, just distorts, right? We have to understand that communicating with a spirit sounds like your thoughts. But it's not a thought that you're thinking, it's a thought that you're receiving, and it does feel different, but it doesn't feel different when you first start doing this. It doesn't feel different when you first start doing this because it is subtle. And so once we get used to and once we understand the subtleties of this and the difference between our thoughts and the difference of receiving a thought, that's when we start to get it. That's when we start to pick up and we know without a shadow of a doubt, oh, that was them. That was the spirit world, right? So we need to get that expectation in check. The other expectation is we're not going to see a physical manifestation of a spirit that poofs right in front of you. It's not going to happen in that way. And us expecting it to happen that way causes us to miss so many other experiences with our loved ones, with our spirit guides, or with any of the spirits in higher realms that we want to communicate with. And so what we need to do is just check our expectations. Yes, it is possible for a spirit to physically manifest. Can your uncle, sister, brother, cousin, mother do it? Probably not. Okay? And if they did, everybody in the room would see them. Okay, it's not like there are special eyes that some people have and some people don't, right? I'm going to hold my glasses up and you're either going to see them or not. And as long as you have some sort of vision going on in your eyes, right, you're not blind or anything, you're going to see these glasses, right? There's no time I can go, hey, do you see these glasses? Right? And somebody will be like, yeah, I see those. Right? I'm not holding them up. It's the same thing with the spirit world, okay? If they physically manifest, you're going to see them just like you see these glasses, all right? But the way that spirits will appear to us is their energy. Let me say this the right way. I never said it this way, and I want to do it so clear right now. It's so clear to me. I just want to formulate the words. So the way that we see a spirit is their energy paints an image in our mind's eye. And it's not that we're imagining it. It's not that we're visualizing it. It's not that we're conjuring up that type of their image, okay? It's that we are receiving what they look like through our psychic sense of seeing. That's what it is. We're interpreting energy through our spiritual ability seeing. That's what we're doing. We're just interpreting that energy through a sense. The same way you can't look at a piece of metal and go, that's hot, right? Well, maybe if it was glowing red or something, right? But you can't look at a piece of metal that's not heated to where it's glowing red, right? You guys get my idea here. You can't look at a piece of metal and say, oh, that's hot, until you touch it. And then your sense of touch interprets the warmth or cold of that piece of metal. Okay? It's the same thing when we feel our loved one's presence, our psychic sense of seeing interprets that energy into an image that we can receive and into an image that we see in our mind's eye. That's what I was trying to get out. Let me turn this. Okay. Hopefully you guys got that. All right. Thanks for the follow, guys. Thanks for the follow, Rebecca. So I'm just reading some of the questions. I want to get to some of the ones that are asked over and over, and I will get to everyone's questions, as many as I can on this live. So just go ahead and pop them in there. So if you're having visitation dreams with your loved one, and you want to remember them, here's how you can remember every single visitation dream that you have with your loved one in spirit. When you wake up from that dream, just bullet point it. Just don't try and journal it out. Whenever you wake up, it can be in the middle of the night. Just few bullet points, 3-4 bullet points about what the dream consisted of, and then give it a title. Go back to sleep or go about your day, but when you come back and you read that, and you read your bullet points, the whole entire dream will come back to you. All right? Not to mention, spirit visitation dreams are not really dreams at all. These are where you're actually leaving your body and visiting with your loved one in the spirit world when the body is asleep. So this is a true visitation, right? But it's not any kind of a dream. And it's really cool and amazing. And once you understand it from that, you can really deepen your experience when you have these types of dreams. Because what happens is when we begin to dream, our mind will drift off, or when we go to sleep, our mind will drift off. Right? And the conscious mind will go to bed. But then the rest of our senses, our spiritual senses, come online, and we're able to have these deep, vivid experiences because the conscious mind is busy off doing something else or is asleep. Yeah, Glenn, omnipresent means being everywhere all of the time, right? When I say we are omnipresent beings, what I mean is that we exist everywhere, every plane of existence, every dimension, anything any human has ever thought of, any kind of physical or energetic plane or dimension, we exist there everywhere. Because we're not just these beings, right? Most people are, oh, I'm a spiritual being having a human experience. Yes, that is very true, but you're also a human being having a spiritual experience. And the part of your energy that's in your physical body is not all of your energy. There's just a small part of your spirit that's in your body. The rest of you is non-physical, and that is what is omnipresent. There's just a little piece of your energy in this physical body. Yes, we can physically feel a sensation like a hug or an embrace from our loved one. And here's the thing. So when that's all happening through our psychic sense of feeling, right? Sensation, right? We do have a psychic sensation feeling, except it's not like a physical sensation, okay? It's an energetic sensation. I feel the intention of the hand on my arm. I feel the intention of my loved one hugging me. Right? It's not a physical hug, but you feel the energetics of that hug or the hand on the shoulder, and it feels just like it's real because your body is interpreting that energy and delivering all of the sensations as if it was a real hug, except it doesn't have any physical stimulus. It's all energetic. And so spirits can touch us, our loved ones can touch us, but it all happens through energy, and you're going to feel it as like tingles and static. And then your body is going to deliver those physical sensations that you feel. Oh, so PZ, that happened to you today? That's cool. Yeah, it's awesome that we can bring these awarenesses to when they happen, right? So here's the thing. When we have these experiences with our loved ones or with the spirit world, what happens is that a lot of us brush them off like, oh, it was coincidence. Oh, it was such and such. And listen, I'm a very practical person. I'm a firm believer in that you should have a healthy dose of skepticism and shouldn't automatically always jump to, oh, that was a message, or oh, that was a synchronicity. We always want to validate. And the way that we validate is by asking for validation. Ask for it to come in a way that's undeniable and then let go. And the way that the validation comes is just like this obvious slap in the face. You couldn't miss it if you tried. If you're thinking like, oh, was that it? Was that what it was? No, it wasn't it. It just comes in a way that's undeniable. And listen, if it doesn't come, then that's your validation that it was not a real experience, that it was a coincidence, that it was everything. But I don't want you to... Whenever you do have a spiritual experience, it's very important that we validate it through those means. But when we can't validate it, it's important that we analyze the experience so we start to get to understand what it feels like when it is not an experience. And then when you do actually have an experience and it does get validated, now you know what it feels like to have that experience. You know what it feels like. And what I mean by feel, you know what it feels like in your body. You know what the energy feels like. You know what the sensations are that you're experiencing. You know what type of like state that you're in. Okay, when you have those experiences. And so now you have something to contrast. Oh, that's what it feels like when I'm in my head. Oh, that's what a real experience feels like. And so now you can differentiate between the two. Now those differences, those subtle differences, aren't so subtle. They're obvious because now you're bringing awareness to the experiences that you have. And that's the number one key thing to connecting with the spirit world, is feeling into the difference of what it feels like when you're in your head versus what it feels like when you're actually having a legitimate connection. And you keep doing this no matter what. No matter if you keep failing at it and you keep being in your head. Judge those experiences after you have the experience. Because here's what happens. If you don't give up and you just keep going and you keep trying to have these experiences, you keep connecting with your loved one, you keep trying to communicate with your spirit guides, you're not doing it, you're not doing it, you're not doing it, you're not doing it, but you never give up, there's going to be that one time that goes boom. And all of those times of failure didn't matter because you know you just had this most undeniable experience. Nobody can tell you anything. You know for sure that you just connected beyond any shadow of a doubt. You don't need any more evidence because you just had all the evidence that you need through the lucid experience that you just had. Once that happens, now you can compare that to all of those other experiences that were shit. And you can start to see the difference in them. And when you start to see the difference in them, now you can celebrate those wins. Now you can celebrate those legitimate connections because you'll start to notice, oh, all of my experiences aren't always this big, grandiose spiritual experience. Sometimes they're a little bit more subtle. And now I'm picking up on these subtleties. And now I understand that it's happening so much more than I was even paying attention to or realizing. And you celebrate those small wins. You celebrate the subtle experiences that you're having, and those subtle experiences begin to snowball. And you start to notice them and recognize them more often. They start to have more meaning. They start to make more sense. They start to point you in the right direction in life. They start to get you that deeper connection with your loved one. You're able to check in with them anywhere, anytime that you want to. You're able to have these conversations like you were when they were here with you. Okay? But you got to celebrate those small wins to turn it into that. Hey Rachel, I'm glad you're enjoying the videos. I'm so happy to hear that you're learning from them. That is my intention. My number one intention is to put out content that you guys can apply immediately to have an experience with. I don't care what you learn from me. I'm not interested in teaching or learning. I want you just to take this shit and start using it and have experiences with it. Peasy, this was your validation. Awesome. There you go. Go forward, my friend. Christine says, I'm so close to breaking through that barrier. It's amazing. What's holding you back? What's stopping you? I'm looking for you guys on Facebook too. See, the Facebook, it's hard for me on Facebook. I'm just kind of like, I can just grab a question because I'll be scrolling on Facebook through your questions and then it'll just go poof and skip. So Facebook needs to sort it out. So sorry about you guys on Facebook. Yeah, I am going live on 2 platforms right now. So if you guys hear me talking. And I'm reading most of the comments on TikTok. So if you're on Facebook, you can head over to TikTok. I mean, but I am trying. Yeah, Facebook, I can't read your comments. Sorry. So if you're trying to connect with your spirit guides and it's just not working for you, the thing that you need to do is just sit and feel for the energy. That's all you're going to do. Like most people get caught up like, spirit guide, give me a sign, or spirit guide, answer my question. And then they're waiting for their spirit guide to say something to them. And it might not happen that way. You might not be aware of how they're speaking to you. So if you can first sense their energy, if you can just connect with your spirit guide's energy and sit there without asking anything, just feeling their energy, they're going to have a whole lot to say to you anyway. Okay? And so if you can just sit there feeling your spirit guide's energy, you're going to start to get stuff. Okay? But what happens is most people get caught up in, I need to get this. I need to understand something. I need this answer. And then it doesn't come in the way that you're expecting it. And so you give up. But if you want to connect with your spirit guides and it's difficult and it's not happening for you, just sit and feel their energy and eventually you will start to get a message. Don't expect them to answer your questions. Just sit and feel their energy. The same thing goes for our loved ones. If you can just sit and feel your loved one's energy, you're going to start to really connect with them. Okay? But if you're just asking questions out into the thin air, it's not very helpful. You've got to feel their energy and feel their presence, and you've got to call them forward, right? Because listen, remember I said the act of thinking of any spirit guide, or loved one brings their energy closer to you, and it happens immediately. But just be specific when you're working with your spirit guide. Say, spirit guide that can best help me in my relationship with this specific issue that I'm having right now with my partner. Please step forward. I need some advice. I need to connect with you. And then just sit there and feel. They're going to come immediately, and just sit there and feel. You'll feel their energy. You'll feel their presence. But most people are like, oh, how do I get out of this stupid relationship? How do I get out of this crazy relationship? Or my partner doesn't pay enough attention to me. Are they the right one? And then nothing happens. You're just asking questions to thin air, right? You might get like 30 spirit guides that can come in and answer that question, but all of them are looking at each other like, who should go, right? We have to intend with what we want to connect with, and we want to connect with, in that moment, the spirit guide that can best serve us for the specific issue that we're facing. And if you don't ask that spirit guide to come forward, you're just going to get something random coming through, if anything. So the other day I was thinking of my sister and I got chills on the top of my head. Whenever you're in the presence of a spirit, you will start to get these bodily sensations. Our body is like a tuning fork and it picks up on energy. It's constantly vibrating at your energetic status, and you don't really notice that unless you're bringing a conscious awareness to your own energy, which is a huge practice. And that's one of the only things that I think you need to practice is feeling your own energy. Okay? Because once you know what your energy feels like, it's very easy to sense any other energy that's out there. All right? But what energy feels like, it's sensations like the tingling on the top of our head. It's like the lightness we feel in our chest. It's like the hair standing up on our arm. It's like feeling this expansiveness. It's like feeling wind blowing on our skin and more. There's all of these different sensations that your body will deliver when you're in the presence of an energy source. And knowing the difference between those sensations when you're experiencing your energy versus the sensations of any spirit, that's going to help you to create that separation of energy, right? Because a lot of people ask me, well, how do I tell the difference between loved one to loved one? It's the way that they feel. The way that their energy feels. How do I know which spirit guide is here? Because their energies feel different. And so if you are focused on that and you can notice the different sensations that come up for the different spirits, you're going to be able to identify them before you see, hear, or feel them. Millie, thanks for sharing the live. My thoughts on trance mediumship, I just don't see the point. I don't really see the point, like, unless you're like wanting to put on a show for other people and like, let's, and no shade to anyone out there that's in a trance mediumship, but that's essentially what it is, right? You're going into trance to have a spirit speak through you, right? And most trance mediums don't even realize or understand the message that came through. So you're doing it for other people, right? So you're doing to bring forward a message for other people. I don't really see the point of that because I would rather just connect with the spirit and give the message, right? I don't need the spirit to speak through me, right? And not to mention the difference in what I do in trance mediumship. Trance mediumship is this passive mediumship. This is where I'm going to dissociate so hard, I'm going to leave my body. Another spirit that I want is going to come through and speak through my vocal cords. That's essentially what trance mediumship is. With me, spirit communication, what I want you guys to be able to do is walk down the street and bam, start talking to spirits, right? Be in the grocery store and know that your mother's right there telling you her cookie recipe, right? I want you to be driving, right? And something go wrong with the car and you call on your brother, say, hey, can you give me a hand with this today? Right? I want you guys to be grounded to go right into it. I don't want you to have to go find a dark room inside of some box, close your eyes, turn off all the lights, and sit there and ohm for 45 minutes, and now we can communicate with the spirit world. Right? If that's your cup of tea, cool. But that's not what I'm into, and I don't think that's what most people who follow me are into. Most people who follow me, you guys want to have that type of, be able to go right into it, to do this from a grounded perspective. I think that that's probably the most important form of spirit communication. So I don't like calling them spiritual gifts because I don't believe that they are gifts because everybody has them. Right? When we start to talk about spiritual gifts, what we're saying is some people have this and some people don't. And that's just not true. I've worked with tens of thousands of people. I've done hundreds of retreats. I've had a couple hundred people go through my mentorship program already, right? I've done so much work with people individually, one-on-one and in large groups, and I've never met one person that couldn't do it. Even in a group setting. For years, all I would do is group work. Right? I didn't work with anybody individually. For years, that's all I did. And everybody in those workshops was, by the end of it, was communicating with spirits. Right? And that's why I started to do work. That's why I started to do my mentorship program, because people wanted some more personalized attention, wanted to go deeper into it. And so that's why I do. And you know, I've not worked with anybody that can't. We all have these abilities. And listen, I can tell you, 99% of my students that come into my mentorship program are like, I don't know if I can do this. I don't know if I have gifts. They come, right, and they start to see some, you know, see some of how the other students are doing in some of the group events. And they're like, wow, I can't, they're just so much better than me. They're so good, right? And I'm like, let me show you something. And then I'll play a clip of that same exact person they said that was way better than them. I'll play a clip of them saying the same thing when they joined. I don't know if I can do this. I can't do this. I don't know if I'm good enough, right? And then by the second or third week, we're nailing it. We're nailing it, right? Most people that come into my program, the first reading that they ever do, they get it with 99% accuracy. Everybody has this. It's not a gift. It's not a gift. And it's not easy. It's not hard. It's very easy. It doesn't take a long time to do it. It's not a development. You can go right into it. You just need somebody to show you the easy way. What in the world is beeping? Is that my phone? Are you guys sending me gifts and stuff and I'm just ignoring them? Thank you so much. I love you all. I don't know. I've never heard that crazy sound before. Maybe there's a new sound effect on these lives now. I love you guys. So listen, guys, I do need to roll. I need to get out of here. I got to go pick up the kids. I got to take care of a few things. Thank you so much for this engagement. Thank you for all the questions here. And I got one more thing that I want to say. If you are interested in taking a deep dive into your spiritual abilities, whether you want to connect with the spirit world, whether you want to connect with your spirit guides, whether you want to connect with your loved ones, and you want to do it in a way that's undeniable, right? You want to do this in a way that you're confident every single time you're connecting with the spirit world, then check out my mentorship program. You can set up an interview for it at the link in my bio. Okay, and I think in this live on Facebook or somewhere, you can click on stuff too. But just click around on my social media and you can schedule an interview for my mentorship program. I would love to work with you out there. Anybody that's been on this live asking all these amazing questions, all of you that are watching, I know you're super interested. I like to work with action takers. I like to work with people that are ready to dive into their spiritual abilities. And so if that's you, let's get this going. So anyway, thank you so much. Keep asking questions. Keep going to the comments. Keep watching the videos. You're the inspiration for my content. I love you all, and we will see you soon.